Good morning, friends. Let's sing a morning song together out of the gray hymnal, hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken. I invite you to rise in body and our spirit. If you're joining us online, you can find the lyric sheet posted in the chat.
Good morning. Welcome to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist Congregation. Thank you for joining us today. We're so glad that you're here. My name is Liz Clement. I use they and she pronouns. I am a white woman with brown hair pulled back today, and I am a member of the worship arts team here. Leading worship with me today is our minister, the Reverend Mary Geer, Troy Fisher, our music director, and Reverend Sara Lewis, our Director of Community and Faith Development, along with, we're so lucky to be joined by the OUUC Choir today. Our community envisions an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to live out our mission to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become. You are welcome here just as you are. Whatever beliefs sustain you and whomever you love, however you understand and express your identity, and in all the ways you are still growing and still becoming. A few things to know about our service today. For the service, we're streaming live on Zoom and YouTube. Hello, everyone out there. And the service is being recorded. For those of us here in the sanctuary, we can see the sometimes creative subtitles on our screen up here in front. And for those of you on Zoom, those are available for you in Zoom as well. We are a wonderful multi-generational community, and we welcome people of all ages in the sanctuary. There's also nursery care and a storytime program for children in the classroom wing, if anyone is ever interested in that. Over here, we have soft chairs and activities for your hands so everybody can be comfortable. Please be where you wish. We are so grateful for the many hands that helped make worship happen this morning. Thank you to all who contribute in so many ways. After the service today, everyone will have the chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Mary. Online, we invite you to go into a virtual breakout room, which you'll see an option for that come up after the service. And here in person, please feel free to stay for coffee and fellowship in the Commons. At 12:15 today, please join us here in the sanctuary or back in the main Zoom room, if you're online, for a skill builder with Reverend Sara on active listening and holding space for others. At 2 p.m. today, our new UU class will meet for a final question and answer session with both Reverend Mary and Reverend Sara. The class is open to all who are interested in knowing more about OUUC and who may be interested in becoming a member. There's no Generation XYZ lunch today because the XYZ group is holding a Friendsgiving potluck next Saturday, that's November 22nd, at 4 p.m. instead. All ages 18 to 50-ish, with a very welcome open door are welcome. Contact Keto Bay for more information. OUUC is also participating in a food collection for immigrant families living in our community. These are our friends and neighbors. A local church is developing groceries to participants' homes. It's a harm reduction approach to decrease the risk of to families threatened by unexpected detention if they leave their homes. There will be boxes, or there are boxes in the coffee area of the Commons, right back here towards the beautiful big windows. And they'll be here through the end of this month. Please pick up a can or two or anything else you think someone might enjoy, as long as it's non-perishable. And you can bring it anytime you're here in the building. Please join us please join us next week also when the after-service forum at 12:15 will be Who Are All the Ministers at OUUC? It's a good question, isn't it? We are so fortunate to have so many ministers associated with our congregation living here in Olympia. Come hear from each of them. They'll speak about who they are and how they're connected to our congregation. Each week this year, we are highlighting an opportunity for engagement here at OUUC. This week's opportunity is the tech team. The OUUC tech team makes all the magic happen you see each week. They also need more volunteers of all experience and availability levels. If you're curious about volunteering on the tech team, you can ask to be put on the tech team mailing list, or you can ask to shadow a service. You could talk to Carbon at the tech desk. You can see Carbon there at the tech desk along with Keto. Or you can email Carbon at techspecialist@ouuc.org. And if that tech specialist at ouuc.org email doesn't happen to stick with you, you can find that on our website, or you can give a call to the office and they'll point you in the right direction. Welcome everyone, come on in. There's seats up here if anyone would like, and I see some over here as well. So as we know, there are many, many things happening here at OUUC. Check out the Tuesday electronic update or the website for the most up-to-date information. Now, let us open our hearts and our minds as we prepare for worship. Welcome, everyone. It is so good to be together. This morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. We light our chalice this morning with the words of Reverend Michelle Collins. We light this chalice for eyes that see miracles in mundane moments. May this flame remind us that gratitude grows not through gratitude grows not through waiting for extraordinary gifts, but through noticing the ordinary blessings surrounding us daily.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Reverend Mary. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an older white woman with short, curly, salt and pepper hair. I have thick, rimmed, dark glasses. And today I have on a cream-colored top and a stole in the colors of fall, green, yellow, orange, and red, was a gift from the UU Fellowship in McMinnville, Oregon, when I served them 10 years ago. Our opening words this morning are offered by Tanya E. Marquez. It is a wonder and a mystery that our paths have crossed. In the immensity of time, in the vastness of space, we coincide here. I am in awe of the ways in which our lives intersect and intertwine, at the beauty we create when we gather. May our coming together make us more compassionate, more just, more caring, more loving. May our hearts and minds be open to this offering. I'm so glad you are here. Let us worship. Let us marvel at the miracle of being here, right now, and the mystery that brought us together. Come, let us worship together.
And let's sing together again, this time out of the gray hymnal, hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life. I invite you to rise in body and our spirit. Thank you for singing.
Good morning. The story that I have for you today is called The Moon Cannot Be Stolen. It's a Zen koan, and a koan is a short wisdom story meant to provoke reflection and pondering. So long ago, there was a Zen master who lived by themselves in a humble, simple hut partway up a mountain. They enjoyed simple pleasures in life, and so they didn't have very many possessions. And one day, while the Zen master was out on a walk, a thief broke into the Zen master's hut. And looking around, the thief was surprised. There was nothing worth stealing. The Zen master returned while the thief was still there and said, "Oh, my good fellow, you must have come a long way to come visit me. I can't let you leave empty-handed." And so the Zen master took off their clothes and gave it to the thief and said, "Here, you can have this." The thief was rather confused and paused for a while, but then left quickly with the clothing. Later that day, as the Zen master was sitting there naked in their hut, gazing up at the full moon, they said, "Oh, That poor man. I wish I could have given him this moon. Thus ends our story.
Each Sunday, we engage in the spiritual practices of generosity and gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. This is an opportunity to express our gratitude for the gifts that life has given us, for the network of relationships in which we live, and for the presence of this community. We each have the power to share, and when we combine our gifts to create an offering, together we are able to do more than any of us can do alone. If you are new or visiting here today, you are our guest, and we do not expect you to contribute. However, if you are moved to be part of our offering, what you do share will be gratefully received. The offering collected here does two things. Half helps to support the ongoing work of this congregation, which is also supported by our regular pledges. The other half of our offering goes to charity. Most of it is shared with an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. And a small portion also goes to the OUUC Ministers Benevolence Fund, which supports the more urgent needs in our community. Our Share the Plate organization, November and December of this year, is Rebuilding Together Thurston County, an all-volunteer organization that provides free home repairs to people in our community. This is what they share about their work.
And our affiliate in Thurston County was founded in 2003 by concerned community members and the Olympia Master Builders Association.
There's a lot of folks that really, for whatever reason, can't do repairs on their house. So organizations like Rebuilding Together can come in and really help those folks stay in their houses, which is important.
Otherwise, I would be still leaking and the roof would be coming down.
What we didn't know until we got sent out on our first few jobs was the depths of poverty here are fairly deep. They're also fairly hidden. It's hard to see them.
We know that some people give to the offering at different times and in different ways, including electronically. You can find out more about that in the order of service or on the OUUC website. May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
Thank you so much for your generosity in all the ways you share your many gifts. This morning, we honor our human lineage by doing what we have done for all of our existence. We gather in times of worry and fear, and in times of celebration and joy. We come into community on Sunday morning, bringing all that's on our minds and in our hearts. So let's open our hearts to the complexity of life as we place stones in the water of community. You'll hear a drum beat. Allow its resonance to enter into your body. It's the heartbeat of life, the heartbeat of our community. In this moment, I invite you to take a deep breath in and out. Feel the air as it enters and leaves your body. Feel the earth solid, always beneath us. Feel the warmth of connection. This coming Thursday is the Trans Day of Remembrance, when we honor those trans individuals who have died in a world that is filled with transphobia. Those of us who are trans, non-binary, and intersex are vulnerable and under attack in many ways right now. As we honor those who are no longer with us, may we celebrate the diversity of humanity and the diversity of this community. We affirm and support all bodies as sacred and holy and worthy of love. And a deep bow of gratitude to OUC's Buildings and Grounds team for their work yesterday in planting new trees along the fence on the south side of our parking lot. These replace the trees that were lost in the fire that our neighbors had last year. So many thanks to B&G for bringing new life to our grounds in all the ways that you do. Let's open our circle wide now. For those joining us today on Zoom, I invite you to share from your heart by entering in the chat. Those of us here in the sanctuary will be able to see your sharing on the screen. And it's also given to me and the pastoral care team. For those on site today, I invite you to come forward if there's something you'd like to bring into community. You may place a stone in the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. Let's hear the heartbeat of our community as we open our hearts in love and care to all who share today. Thank you. We'll place a stone in the water for all that has been shared online, shared from the heart. And one more stone placed in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken this day. We hold together all that has been shared. May you feel yourself witnessed. May you know that you are loved. I'm going to invite us to howl again today. So please be in whatever way is comfortable for you to make a little bit of noise if you wish. Wolves howl to communicate. We howl for lots of reasons. So I invite you, if you wish, to point your nose to the sky and howl. Oh, you're ready, go!
Today's first reading is The Loss of Someone Dear by Steve Garnes Holmes. The loss of someone dear is a sudden thing that happens over a long time. Grief is not a feeling or a phase. It is the landscape we enter as unwilling refugees and learn to find our way anew. Grief is a visitor from the realm where we are all one, who gives us the gift of sorrow which is divine. For in it, our hearts bear the torn pieces of the fabric of all things, and by holding, mend. Grief is a wild animal that moves into your house. It will never be tamed. You learn to live with it, its moods and hungers, its sudden movements. You learn to regard it with tenderness. You never learn its language, but sometimes, for the sake of the animal, you go out on the back stoop, overcome with love, and sit beside it and howl.
Part 1, Grief. I have a memory of driving past a small creek and marshy area in Salem, Oregon, where I lived for 12 years before I moved here to be your minister. I regularly drove this busy patch of road, and I would often see a pair of wild geese hanging out on the corner, eating the grass, drinking the fresh water that was in a creek there, sometimes just laying and resting. Geese mate for life, and so I saw this pair year after year, and one year I saw goslings. The memory of those geese that is forever etched in my mind is a hard one. One day, as I drove by, I saw one of the geese on the side of the road. It looked like it had been hit by a car. Wings broken, body still. And standing next to that broken, still body was its mate, seemingly bearing witness to this death, this loss. I don't know what that goose was thinking or feeling. I wanted to howl. I pulled over and I wept. Animal researchers have learned that geese grieve, and in ways that we humans would recognize. They stay in the area where their mate has died if they can. They hang their heads as if they are sad. They withdraw and they isolate, seeming to hold a period of mourning. And they made loud honking noises or other vocalizations, which I imagine is their version of howling. I really appreciate the image of grief as a wild animal that moves into my house, that I learned to live with, and that invites me to the back stoop to howl. That feels about right to me. Perhaps that image resonates with you as well. In his book, The Wild Edge of Sorrow, psychologist Francis Weller outlines 5 gates that invite us into the field of grief. No matter which gate we enter, we will find ourselves in this vast terrain, this terrain of grief where others are as well. Grief is communal. It's an experience that is shared by all of us humans and that we share with other living beings as well. We enter the field of grief through many gates, sometimes by choice, like when we decide to leave a job or a relationship, or we move. And sometimes by circumstance, like when we encounter illness or we experience the death of a loved one. One of Weller's 5 gates is the one that we are probably most familiar with. Everything that we love, we will lose. This is the paradox of love and loss and the pain of living. We mourn because we love. Weller writes, losing someone or something we love brings us into the shelter of our mutual grief. The shelter of our mutual grief. Grief and love are siblings woven together from the beginning. Their kinship reminds us that there is no love that does not contain loss, and there is no loss that is not a reminder of the love for that which we once held close. Alone and together, death and loss affect us all. Many of us have losses in our personal lives and in our communities. Loss of loved ones, loss of jobs, loss of routines, loss of stability, loss of familiar places. In our lives, we have plenty of invitations to grieve and to howl. Another of Weller's gates is the sorrows of the world. We enter this gate when we mourn the destruction of our environment and the loss of life as a result. We enter this gate when we acknowledge the many places of war in the world and the effect it has on people and on the land. We enter this gate when we mourn the destruction of our social safety net, the detention of humans in inhumane circumstances, and the dismantling of a democratic process. There's plenty to howl about these days as we take in the news. And there is grief involved in the work of justice as we mourn the sorrows of the world and the gap between what we wish for and the reality in which we live. This year, we are offering drop-in discussion groups each month about 2 groups, active hope and how to live in a chaotic climate. You'll find copies of them in the Commons if you're interested. We think that both of these help offer a framework and some practical ways to be whole and well in these challenging times. In How to Live in a Chaotic Climate, which offers 10 steps, many of those 10 steps involve inviting us into the field of grief. There's number 1, accept the severity of the predicament that we're in. Number 3, honor my mortality and the mortality of all. Number 8, grieve the harm that I have caused. These are invitations to reconnect with what we are feeling, with others in our community, and with the world around us. I have so enjoyed the 2 discussion groups I've led so far, relishing the depth of connection and conversation. Reverend Sara tells me she's had the same experience with the groups she's led. We've heard stories of grief, worry, fear, hope, and a whole range of emotions. We look forward to continued discussions each month through May. This is the work of preparing ourselves for the journey as we continue our work for justice. Grieving is so important, and yet, as a society, we don't grieve especially well. It breaks my heart each time I hear from a speaker at a celebration of life when they tell me that they're afraid they will cry. As if it's not okay to cry in church at a service that is intended for mourning. We might acknowledge a loss when we have one or when someone has one, and we tend to rush through the process of mourning. If we're lucky, those of us who are working get a few days off to mourn the loss of a loved one. We get worried if someone seems sad for too long or if they seem too emotional. We tend to be uncomfortable with grief, our own and others, the emotion of it, causing many of us to withdraw and grieve in isolation. Weller writes, "Grief is subversive, undermining our society's quiet agreement that we will behave, that we will be in control of our emotions. It's an act of protest that declares our refusal to live numb and small. There is something feral about grief, something essentially outside the ordained and sanctioned behaviors of our culture. Grief is alive, wild, and untamed. It cannot be domesticated. We move in jangled, unsettled hold of us. It is truly an emotion that arises from the soul." I think of grief as a spiritual practice that invites us to connect with other living things and with that which we love. Open our hearts and share our deepest longings. I think we are now in a time of collective mourning, although some would challenge that assertion. We had barely come through the global pandemic with extraordinary losses around the globe when we as a nation were plunged into chaos and destruction in a way that we have never seen. And we lack many ways to grieve together as a community or as a nation. And I think that's one of the functions of the political rallies that are happening across the country right now, is that we come together to share our grief, our lamentation, and we come together to cast a vision for the world that we want to see. With our lamentation comes a sense of longing, yearning for something better, longing for a world with more hope and less despair, longing for a life of more connection and less divisiveness, longing for a government that quells hate and violence instead of generating it, longing for peace and stability for those who are suffering in war, longing for a sense of the common good with each of us doing what is ours to do, longing for enough for everyone, longing for companions to give us courage that we might be the people that these times require. Last spring, during her visit to Olympia, folk singer Carrie Newcomer told us the story from the Great Plains where she lives. She says that in the winter, farmers tie a rope from their house to the barn to help them get back and forth during the whiteouts, the snowstorms that are so big and powerful that the farmers can get lost in their own backyard. I really appreciate that image, and I find comfort in it as we are in the realm, the field of grief. Community is the lifeline, the tether that helps us return to the land of the living when we have been in grief, in the field of grief, either by choice or by circumstance. There is no cure for sorrow, only a lifeline, the comforting love and care of those in our community. It is in a faith community such as this that we can share our grief and harness the energy of our collective longing to help create the world that we long for.
Our second reading is from Active Hope, How to Face the Mess We're In with Unexpected Resilience and Creative Power by Joanna Macy and Chris Johnstone. Dr. Joanna Macy was an eco-philosopher, a scholar of Buddhism, general systems theory, and deep ecology. She remains a respected voice in the movements for peace, justice, and ecology. Dr. Chris Johnstone is a medical doctor, an author, a trainer, and a coach who has worked as an addiction specialist in the United Kingdom's National Health Service. He's known for his work pioneering the role of resilience training and in promoting positive mental health and developing self-help resources. A felt sense of wonder, thankfulness, and appreciation for life is how renowned psychologist Robert Emmons defines gratitude. If you're feeling low, it might seem a stretch to focus on something so positive. Yet, recognizing the gifts of your life is profoundly steadying, increasing your psychological buoyancy, which helps you to maintain your balance and poise when entering rough waters. Put simply, our gladness to be here, when the continuation of life itself is in doubt, kindles our resilience. Our essential wonder at the root of life empowers us to face the unprecedented perils of our time.
Part 2, gratitude. This month we are exploring the spiritual practice and theme of nurturing gratitude. As we approach the Thanksgiving holiday, a day set aside for gratitude, I find myself reflecting on the complexity of this day at this particular moment in time. I was taught a story about happy Native people sharing a meal with white pilgrims. Perhaps some of you were taught this story too. And as I grew up, I learned that there was not very much real or true in that particular story. It was much more complex and hard. The true historical origin of Thanksgiving is that it was declared a national holiday by President Abraham Lincoln in the waning days of the Civil War. He intended it as a boost to citizens whose spirits were weary and who were grieving so many losses in a national war that had gone on for years. Lincoln declared this day to help us remember that amidst grief, there is room for gratitude. Lincoln wasn't alone in believing that we must do both together, gratitude and grief, grief and gratitude, so that our hearts are strong for the journey. In our reading, Joanna Macy notes that gratitude steadies us in rough waters and it rekindles our resilience. And although she died this past July, her teachings remain relevant and with us now. Macy wrote, "In times of turmoil and danger, gratitude helps steady us and ground us. It brings us into presence, and our full presence is perhaps the best offering that we can make the world in these days." Macy suggests that gratitude can quiet our frantic minds and bring us into the present moment, preparing us for what comes next. In her book, Active Hope, Macy offers a model of reconnection and transformation that has 4 steps. She calls it the work that reconnects, which she says helps people discover and experience their innate connections with each other and with the self-healing powers of the web of life, transforming despair and overwhelm into inspired collaborative action. The first step is gratitude. Gratitude invites us into transformation. Now, this might seem impossible in times of grief, times like these, and yet it is essential. It's the foundation, the grounding that helps us move forward. We become more fully present and emotionally ready for the next phase. So what could we be grateful for now? We could be grateful for this earth that is present for us and that produces all that we need to sustain life, including our food. Grateful for the hands that grow the food, tend it, deliver it, prepare it. Grateful for the warmth of the sun and shelter from the cold and the rain. Grateful for those who do healing work in this world. Grateful for our families, birth and chosen, and for friends. Grateful for one another and the opportunity to begin again in love, to address our differences and mend our relationships. Grateful for this community. Grateful for life itself. With this grounding of gratitude, we move to honoring our pain for the world, grief. When we experience our grief, we can connect to others with compassion, which means to suffer with. Honoring our pain opens us up to our love, our courage, our longing, our imagination, and our sense of justice. The third step in Macy's spiral is seeing with new eyes. When we connect with the grounding of gratitude and experience our grief, we can sense how intimately and completely we are related to all that is in the interdependent web of life. And from that connection, we can begin to understand the power that we have to change ourselves and to change the world. And the final step is going forth, where we move into the actions that we are each of us called to do according to our situation, gifts, and limitations. We do this work with others whenever possible toward a shared vision of care and justice. And often this means moving into the unknown, the mystery of what is possible. And there is never a guarantee of success. Even when we don't succeed, we can be grateful for the chance that we took and for the lessons that we will inevitably learn. Macy says that we can move through this spiral again and again, each time gaining new insights, boosting our resilience, and strengthening our resolve to act in ways that support all life. In Macy's model, gratitude is not just appreciating what we have in our lives. It is the foundation for changing ourselves and changing the world. Gratitude is also one of the 10 steps for living in a chaotic climate. Step number 6, practice gratitude, seek beauty, and create connections. Grief and gratitude, gratitude and grief. Just as love and grief are intertwined, so are gratitude and grief. And both are necessary for our own health, for the health of our planet, and for the work of justice. They help us move from fear and hate to action that is rooted in the sacred, rooted in community, and rooted in love. Just like the monk sitting naked, looking at the beautiful moon. And there is one more G word to mention in this complex intertwining of grief and gratitude. And that's guilt, which can show up in many ways. Sometimes when we grieve, we are told that we have no reason to do so, that we should be grateful instead, as if being grateful can erase our grief, or that we can only feel one or the other, grief or gratitude, not both at the same time. We may be shamed for our sadness or told to move on. Know that your grief, your sadness, your feelings are valid, and all of you, all of them, is welcome here. And sometimes when we feel gratitude, we can feel guilty for the abundance in our lives. Sometimes gratitude moves us to face our privilege, like being white in a time of ICE detentions or being financially secure in a time of government shutdown. And while it's helpful to notice our privilege, it is important to notice our privilege. Feeling guilty for them helps no one. What we can do is use our privilege for the benefit of all and for justice, such as when those of us who are white accompany those who are detained, or when those of us who have enough help our neighbors who are in need, like those of us who are safe, helping to create safe places for those who are threatened right now, like those of us who are able, showing up for protests and proclaiming the truth of the reality of what is happening right now. We can free the energy that is trapped by our guilt to fuel our compassion and our justice. I don't know if geese have memories, but people do. And I remember the geese in Salem with gratitude for that regular reminder of the cycle of life and for a connection to the wild. Gratitude that the wild remains all around us no matter what is happening. And that gratitude helps me face the grief of animal lives that are lost to human actions, whether it's by cars or climate change. And with that gratitude and grief, I can move into the world with renewed conviction to act in ways that I hope will support all life. This month, as we engage in the spiritual practice of cultivating gratitude, I invite you to consider what you are grieving and who you can mourn with. I invite you to name what you are grateful for and how that gratitude can support your transformation and the transformation of the world, your resilience. And I invite you to consider if guilt shows up in this complexity and how you might free that for your transformation and work for justice. In this time of turmoil and danger, the world needs our grounded presence and our collaborative action. May we be rooted and resilient in the days and weeks ahead. Let's be in silence together.
I invite you to rise and let's sing together out of the Teal hymn book, hymn number 1027, When the Poor Ones.
When
We extinguish our chalice with the words of the Reverend Tandy Rogers. May you notice what is quietly good. May you give thanks with your whole body, not as performance, but as deep practice, a way of staying rooted in the sacred, even when the winds pick up and swirl around you. May you go with joy, go with commitment, go with love.